Hey there. Have you ever caught yourself wincing a little when you stand up too fast, or maybe you've noticed you're not quite as steady on your feet as you used to be? It's funny how we chalk these things up to just getting older, isn't it? But sometimes, there's more to it than that. Something like osteoporosis might be quietly at work. If you've heard that word before and wondered what it really means for you, you're in the right place. Today, I want to chat with you about what osteoporosis is, why it matters as we hit our 60s and beyond, and what we can do about it. Because here's the truth, your bones are worth looking after, and there's a lot you can do to keep them strong. So, what's this osteoporosis thing all about? Picture your bones like the framework of a house. They hold everything up, keep you moving, and give you the freedom to do what you love. But as we age, that framework can start to weaken. Osteoporosis is when your bones get thinner and more brittle, almost like they're losing their density. It's sneaky, too. It doesn't shout at you with big warning signs until something like a fall turns into a broken hip or wrist. And for us over 60, that's a big deal, because staying active and independent is everything. The good news? You don't have to just sit back and let it happen. There are ways to understand it and fight back, and that's what we're going to explore together. In this video, we're going to walk through what osteoporosis looks like, how it shows up in our lives, and the practical steps you can take to keep your bones in fighting shape, whether that's through what you eat, how you move, or even talking to your doctor about treatments. Let's start with the basics. How do you even know if this is something you need to think about? Well, one of the first things to notice is if you're feeling a little more fragile than you used to. Maybe you've had a small stumble that left you with a fracture, or you're noticing your back's a bit more hunched than it was a few years ago. That's not just old age creeping in, it could be your bones telling you they need some extra love. Take my friend Joan, for example. She's 67, loves her weekly dance class, and always had a spring in her step. But a couple of years ago, she tripped over her cat, not a big fall, mind you, and ended up with a cracked wrist. She was shocked, saying, "I didn't even hit the ground that hard." When she went to her doctor, they did a scan and found her bones were thinner than they should be. That's when she learned about osteoporosis. It was a wake-up call, but it also got her moving in the right direction, literally and figuratively. She didn't let it stop her, she just got smarter about how to protect herself. Another thing to keep an eye on is your height. Have you ever stood against the wall and thought, wait a minute, am I shorter than I used to be? It's not your imagination. Osteoporosis can make your spine compress a bit over time, especially if those tiny bones start to weaken. My Uncle Fred, he's 72 and proud as can be about his 6-foot frame, started joking that he was shrinking. But when he measured himself one day, he'd lost nearly 2 inches. His doctor explained it could be tied to his bones getting less dense. It's one of those quiet clues that can nudge you to check in with someone who knows what's what. And while we're talking about how it shows up, let's think about pain for a moment. If your back's been aching more than usual, especially after sitting or standing for a while, it might not just be a stiff muscle. Weak bones in your spine can start to crumble a little, and that can leave you feeling sore in ways you didn't expect. My neighbor Pat, she's 69 and still tends her flower beds like a pro, started noticing this nagging ache in her lower back. She thought it was from bending over too much, but it didn't go away with rest. A quick chat with her doctor and a bone check later, she found out osteoporosis was part of the picture. It wasn't the end of the world, it was just a sign to start taking action. Now that we've covered how osteoporosis can sneak into your life, through fractures, shrinking height, or that pesky back pain, let's shift to what you can do about it, starting with something you're already doing every day, eating. Alright, so we've been chatting about how osteoporosis can quietly show up, maybe through a surprise fracture, a little less height on the measuring tape, or that nagging backache that won't quit. It's not the cheeriest topic, I know, but here's where it gets good, you've got power to push back against it. And one of the easiest places to start is right at your kitchen table. What you eat can be like a secret weapon for keeping your bones strong, and it doesn't have to feel like a chore or mean giving up everything you enjoy. Let's talk about calcium first, because it's the building block your bones crave. You've probably heard about it since you were a kid: drink your milk, right? But as we get older, it's just as important. Things like milk, yogurt, or cheese are great ways to get it, and they don't have to be boring. I've got a friend, Marge, who's 70 and swears by her morning yogurt with a handful of berries. She used to think dairy was just for kids, but after her doctor told her it could help her bones, she found ways to make it her own. If dairy's not your thing, don't worry, there's calcium in leafy greens like kale or broccoli, or even in a glass of fortified orange juice. It's about finding what fits your life and sneaking it in where you can. But calcium's only half the story. Your body needs a helper to make it stick, and that's where vitamin D comes in. Think of it like the delivery service that gets calcium right to your bones. You can soak up some vitamin D from the sun. Just a few minutes outside on a nice day can do the trick. My pal George, he's 68 and loves his porch swing, started sitting out there with his coffee for 15 minutes each morning. He says it's his little sunshine ritual, and it's doing his bones a favor, too. If the weather's not cooperating, you can get it from foods like salmon or eggs, or even a simple supplement if your doctor gives the thumbs up. It's a small thing, but it adds up. And while we're on the subject of what you put in your body, let's talk about moving it, too. Eating right is a big piece of the puzzle, but staying active is like giving your bones a workout to keep them tough. You don't need to turn into a gym rat, honestly, who has time for that? Just doing things that put a little weight on your bones can help them stay dense. Walking's a great one. It's easy on the joints and gets you out in the fresh air. My cousin Ellen, she's 65 and never been big on exercise, started walking her dog around the block every day. She says she feels sturdier already, and her pup's pretty happy about it, too. Even dancing to your favorite tunes in the living room counts, anything that keeps you on your feet and moving. Take my old neighbor Tony, for instance. He's 73 and used to spend most of his days in his recliner. After a doctor's visit showed his bones were thinning, he decided to give walking a try. He started with just 10 minutes, shuffling down his driveway and back. Now he's up to half an hour, and he's even added some light hand weights he swings while he walks. He told me, "I didn't think I had it in me, but it's not so bad." It's not about pushing yourself too hard, it's about keeping those bones awake and ready to carry you through the day. So, we've got eating for strong bones with calcium and vitamin D, and moving to keep them solid. Next, let's chat about something you might not think affects your bones but absolutely does: how you handle the little habits in your everyday routine. Alright, we've been having a good talk about how osteoporosis doesn't have to call the shots, starting with loading up on calcium and vitamin D through what you eat, and keeping your bones strong with a bit of movement like walking or dancing. Now, let's shift to something that might surprise you: the everyday habits you've got in your routine. You might not think twice about them, but some of those little choices can either help your bones or make things tougher on them. And the best part? Tweaking them doesn't take much effort, just a little awareness. Let's start with something a lot of us enjoy: coffee. I'm not here to pry that morning cup out of your hands, I'd never dream of it. But if you're having 5 or 6 cups a day, it might be worth easing up a bit. Too much caffeine can pull calcium out of your bones, almost like it's sneaking it away when you're not looking. My friend Ruth, she's 69 and used to live on coffee from dawn to dusk. When she found out her bones were getting weaker, her doctor suggested cutting back to a couple of cups and swapping in some herbal tea. She grumbled at first. Ruth without coffee was a scary thought, but she found a peppermint blend she loves, and her bones are thanking her for it. And while we're talking about what you sip, let's touch on soda, too. Those fizzy drinks can be a treat, but they've got something called phosphoric acid that can mess with how your body holds onto calcium. It's not about banning them forever, just keeping them as an occasional thing instead of a daily habit. My brother-in-law, Sam, he's 71 and was hooked on cola. He'd have one with lunch, dinner, sometimes even breakfast if he was feeling wild. After a chat with his doctor about osteoporosis, he started reaching for water or milk instead most days. He still enjoys his soda now and then, but he says he feels better knowing he's not shortchanging his bones. Now, let's move from what you drink to something else you might be doing, or not doing, that can make a difference: smoking. If you've never smoked, you're already ahead of the game. But if it's been a habit, this might be the nudge you need to kick it. Smoking's tough on your bones. It messes with blood flow and makes it harder for your body to build new bone tissue. I knew a guy, Frank, who's 66 and smoked for years. After a fall left him with a fractured ankle that took forever to heal, his doctor laid it out plain: quitting could help his bones bounce back. It wasn't easy, but he leaned on patches and a support group, and he's been smoke-free for a year now. He swears he feels stronger, and his last checkup showed his bones are holding up better. And speaking of habits, let's wrap this up with something you can add to your toolbox: talking to your doctor about treatments. Everything we've covered so far, eating right, moving, tweaking your routine, is a solid foundation. But sometimes, your bones need a little extra help, and that's okay. There are medicines out there that can slow down bone loss or even help build it back up. My cousin Linda, she's 68 and found out her osteoporosis was pretty advanced after a scan. She was nervous about pills, but her doctor explained how they'd work and started her on something simple. Paired with her walks and a glass of milk a day, she's feeling more confident about staying on her feet. So, think about those habits: coffee, soda, smoking, and how a few small shifts can give your bones a fighting chance. And don't be shy about asking your doctor what else might work for you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you tried any of these changes? Maybe you've got a story about what's worked for you. Share it with us. If this hit home, give the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We've got more coming to help you live your strongest life. Here's to keeping those bones sturdy and ready for whatever you want to do next.